what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be working on the Turbo 460, doing some maintenance and a couple upgrades. Let me show you guys what I got. So currently we're running this oil in the truck. We went with break-in fluid for the first two oil changes, and then I'm on its first oil change, this conventional 10W30. I'm going to put another, I did 500 miles on that conventional oil. I'm going to put this guy in it and do 1,000, and then I'm going to go to synthetics. But while I'm at it, I'm going to install my engine oil cooler. This one's brand new. I never reuse these guys when I have an engine rebuild. But this truck came from the factory with an engine oil cooler, and I feel like it should probably have one, especially under like consecutive wide open throttle pulls. I think the oil is getting hot, and I can see a small drop in oil pressure during that time. I'm gonna say that it's heat in the oil, but we'll see. The truck weighs 6,000 pounds. It's not light, so it's putting a lot of stress on the oil. Be running new hose. This is the sandwich plate that I was using before, but it had these small fittings on it. I'm gonna upgrade to these bigger fittings. Hopefully that will just help the oil flow a little bit better. And then later I plan on putting a temperature sender in here so I can actually monitor the temperature of the oil. And those new fittings go with this bigger hose. I'm not reusing my old stuff. But so far, everything's looking good on the oil change. I got the oil just draining out right now. The oil looks good. There's no metal, no debris, no sign of bearings, anything like that. I'll be cutting my Motorcraft filter open here in a minute, taking a look inside at the paper, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Nothing that's jumping out and scaring me. So letting this guy drip, I'm gonna cut the filter open, and then I'm gonna have to take the grill off the truck and this top cover here. I'm gonna put that engine oil cooler between the intercooler and the radiator, and then I'll mount it directly to the radiator. All right, so it's getting dark on me, but here's where I got the oil cooler mounted. So I just use these, they're made for radiators and oil coolers and whatnot, but they're just like zip ties basically, and they work great. They have a little pad that goes between the two. This isn't going to give me the most cooling. If this was stood off away from the radiator, it would help some. But this guy's just right behind the intercooler. It's good enough for now. Eventually I'll fabricate something else, but I'm a little bit limited on space between the intercooler where it bolts on the bottom, and I have some adjustment built into these mounts. A little bit limited on space between these two though. So hey guys, welcome back. All right, so it's been about a week since I started this video. So ultimately the oil cooler caused quite a large drop in oil pressure, more than what I wanted. It was about 10 psi. So under boost, it was just, I just wasn't happy with it. So I think what I'm going to do is change out my thermostat. Right now I have just a regular old replacement 180 degree thermostat. My truck runs around 190 with that thermostat. Before that I had a high flow 180 in there from Mr. Gasket, I believe. And the truck would run around, it would never break 180, but in the winter it'd be like 160, and that's why I ultimately changed it to the other one, because it was didn't seem like it was warming up quite enough. But now that it's summertime, things are warmer. I'm gonna put the 180 Mr. Gasket high flow one back in there. I figure a 10-15 degree drop in coolant temperature will help keep the oil cooler as well, but I don't want to sacrifice oil pressure with the engine oil cooler. I'm running the 10W30 conventional right now. I'm going to switch over to 1040 on my next oil change to see what that does. And then I'm going to be installing an oil temperature sensor just so I can keep an eye on it. So that way I have a better idea on if the oil temps are actually getting hot or not. And I know that this truck, so when I built this engine, I don't remember the bearing clearances off the top of my head, but they are larger than stock, and they're the recommended clearances for someone running moderate boost. And I'm using King racing bearings. So the oil pressure, a thicker oil might do me some good. So I'm going to work on that today. Change out the thermostat. I got some new plugs, some BR6 FSs from NGK.
I'm going to put those in, and then so we're doing new plugs and thermostat, and then we'll give it a run and see how it goes.
All right, guys. So this is the difference between, this is the stock style 80 degree or 180 degree thermostat. This is that high flow guy. You can tell it's quite a bit different. Flows a ton. I imagine it's quite a bit less resistance on the water pump. I put these both in boiling water to make sure they're still working right, and they're both still 180 degrees. Yeah, so this is a good guy. I was just having an issue with, in wintertime, the truck wasn't warming up. And then I'm using, this is obviously the water pump gasket, or water outlet gasket for the thermostat. I tried using those fancy O-ring ones and it leaked no matter what I did, so these paper ones just work just fine. And then these are the plugs that I use. I'm going to throw a new set in just because the ones that I have in there, I've been in there for a little while, and I was dealing with some acceleration enrichment issues where it was just dumping too much fuel. So now I have the acceleration enrichment reduced by, a ton. And so the other plugs look like they could be swapped out from that being too rich. And I'll be gapping these at, 32 thousandths or 0.032. And I just got a case of the oil in that I'll be using here. I got this off eBay. These guys have the best price. But this was going to be, so this is HR5, so conventional 1040. Right now I'm running 1030 conventional. After this next oil change, I'll switch to synthetic. So this one will be the last conventional change, and we'll see what that does for the oil pressure.
And to clarify on oil pressure, so it's about 60 cold idle, hot idle, I'm around 40. It builds with RPM. Cruising down the highway under low load, we're about 60 PSI. When I get into it, it has some drop in oil pressure, and then maintains about 50 the entire time. When I put the engine oil cooler on, everything was reduced by about 10 PSI. So I'm still over the 10 PSI per 1,000 RPM. But with the engine oil cooler, it was like close to not being right. So at 5,000 RPM, the current 10W30 oil pressure is right around 50.
Is it like super noisy in public?
Let me hear.
Yes, that sounds cool.
That was like 40% throttle.
So you're only in fourth gear?
Yeah.
You ever get into fifth gear?
Oh yeah. So I'm not gonna like kill the truck in this. I just want to give you an idea of what it's like.
It feels powerful just going in fourth gear.
It's hard to drive fast when there's cars in the way.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna go down the roundabout and come back. Just watch your neck when we turn around. It'll hurt your neck.
No, it didn't.
It will, yeah.
It will?
If you don't let your head hit the window.
I just...
Yeah. Just try to brace yourself.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. But so like right now my air fuel ratios are all within like 2%, so it's doing really good. Like I want the truck to be warmer before I beat on it too hard.
It runs really smooth.
Super smooth.
Yeah.
It's that sequential fuel and sequential ignition.
I'm just amazed how you
tune.
learn all this stuff.
This is completely my tune. See, I got a lean spot right there. I gotta fix that. Or it's got a surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna
Just go
turn around here. Okay, here we go.
you took this to a racetrack, would you have to like drive that fast on the track?
Oh man, that ripped.
Yeah. Everything stay in tune.
Looks like everything's fine.
Remember the last time I rode with you and you did that? It was like, oh no, what happened?
I think I hit overboost, didn't I?
Yeah, and it just, everything went bad and you had to go home right away. Yeah, it was something that was not good. That's funny. People going the other way are probably going like, what is that? It's a rocket. Man, it's really smooth all.
So we hit 12 psi boost. So it's not. So I need to go back and look in the data log to see exactly what it's doing. Because I want it to be around 14, but 12 psi is a lot of power. I mean that's probably 700-ish horsepower. I could have revved it out higher too. I shifted it a little early.
It's like your dad is looking down from heaven. What do you think he's thinking?
He's probably jealous.
He's jealous, yeah. But he's probably so proud of what you've done with the truck. He probably figured you would have jumped it. You know, we wouldn't have even done anything with it.
Yeah. Well, I'll mess with this when we park here. Try to see how fast we went. But that was pretty good.
That was very good. It was very.
So I could have rolled into it a
shocking.
little harder, but that was good. But yeah, and then
It was definitely.
and then it just cruises.
Yeah, just like smooth as silk, as they say.
Well, and even like you just roll into the boost, like it's just got like that's just barely any throttle.
It's a lot of traffic today to try to.
Yeah, it's a little bit. And if the road is wet at all, I can't do that. It'll spin the tires, and it gets a little sketchy.
Yeah. I love the.
So that's like 30% throttle, just lightly.
Yeah. I love the exhaust.
It sounds
so
good.
Cool.
It has a muffler, so it's not too loud.
I should do something to mine. Mine's noisy, but it's not.
Yours doesn't have anything on it.
Mine's diesel noisy.
Yeah, it's just straight pipes.
Well, you can always fancy up my truck.
The only problem with yours is the transmission. That Allison,
Yeah.
it's good, but it doesn't hold.
Wouldn't hold super
It doesn't
power.
hold any more power than what it already has.
Yeah.
So you're like 120 horsepower over stock right now.
I just love that truck, honestly. Honestly.
Spun the tires. Did you feel it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can feel it gripping. Yeah. Then when it gripped, you can feel it gripping. Yeah.
Hey guys, alright, so I'm going to end this video off here. It's getting kind of long. But to summarize, the truck's running fantastic. I installed the oil pressure cooler. I had a drop in oil pressure. I didn't like it. I reinstalled the, or I took the oil pressure cooler off and then installed a colder thermostat. That seems to be helping with the pressure, and I don't have the drop with the cooler, and it's keeping the truck cooler. So happy with that so far. I wanted to show you guys the data log here from my drive there with my mom. So here you can see I roll into it, wide open throttle, the top green line there is TPS. hit a max boost of 11.7, 11.8, and then boost tapers off down in the 10s. So what I need to do is crank up the boost duty cycle after about 4,000 RPM so that it doesn't taper off like that anymore. Air-fuel ratio is pretty good, a little fat on the top end, a little lean as I roll into it, so I just need to adjust some of that. And then I make my shift here. Boost spikes back up to about 11.5, 11.6, and then kind of tapers off as the wastegate catches up. And then boost comes on and holds about 10.5 the whole way through. And then I shift it early again out at, what did I get up to? 4,700 RPM. Boost is back up to about 11. So I need to add more boost duty cycle in the middle and up top some. Air-fuel ratios are pretty solid. We're within the system's correcting about 2-3% from target. So we're pretty close to target, but I need to pull some fuel up here up top. We're about 5% off. So I need to pull about 5% off out up top and a little less down low. But we're close and it's working good. So I'm going to crank up the boost on the next drive and kind of finalize this fuel. But it's running good. Oil pressure is staying where it should. I'm definitely over the 10 psi per 1,000 RPM. Cruising is around 60, 70, and under boost, wide open, it stays right around there. So I'm happy.
All right, guys, thanks for watching as always, and stay tuned for some more videos here. We'll be turning up the boost and doing some more tuning. Hoping to get, I'm looking right now, I'm looking for a stock set of tires and wheels to get it on the truck on the dyno. I got a dyno shop here in my local area that's gonna let me put the truck on there, and I'll do my own tuning and rent the dyno from them, but they require me to have stock size tires, not the 35s that I have on the truck right now. So I'm just looking for a set of cheap stock wheels and tires, and we'll be good to go and get it on the dyno. So hopefully in the next couple of videos that'll be coming up. All right, guys, please subscribe and like the videos.